started with Bob Benoit and Pete McCordic in match 1. And the 37-year-old Texan McCordic picks up his 4th strike in a row in the 8th frame, and that put the pressure on late. Benoit had his problems. A 2-8-10 lead in the 8th. He's open. And in the 9th, problems again for Benoit. The 2-10 are down there. And he is open again. And McCordic wins 257 to 180. Qualifying 3rd all-time PBA money winner Marshall Holman going for his 22nd title. And then there is the 25-year-old Kelly Coffman. Can he win his first Professional Bowling Association championship? In the top spot, Parker Bohn III. With a win, he would get strong consideration for Bowler of the Year. Today, the Fall Tour continues on NBC. The PBA Fall Tour has come to Milwaukee. The $150,000 American Bowling Congress Fall Classic at the Red Carpet Celebrity Lane. Hello, everybody. Jay Randolph. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Alongside is Earl Anthony, the Hall of Famer, and they had a wonderful Thanksgiving here. They fed everybody.
They did, Jay, and it was a great week for all the players. You got a chance to tour the ABC facilities, see the test center. Just a fantastic week for the bowlers.
The first match, it was McCordic with a big victory, and he's going to go up against Marshall Holman.
And they don't get any tougher than Marshall Holman. Here's a Hall of Famer. He wants to win. It's been a long time for Marshall. I expect him to be tough on all the players. He could win today.
Up in front, Kelly Coffman, a young man from Kansas.
And if you want to see somebody turn up a bowling ball, keep an eye on this young man. More ball than anybody on the tour, in my opinion.
And Parker Bohn, for the 2nd week in a row, is in the TV finals.
If he can keep it out of the gutter, he could be the winner. He's
all right, let's go right to the 2nd match. It's Pete McCordic and Marshall Holman to do battle. Earl McCordic was brilliant with that 257 game in defeating Benoit, and we'll see if he can keep it going.
Well, I like the angle on the lanes he's playing, Jay. He's got the ideal angle. He's playing out near the channel, going down and in with the ball, and it'll keep him out of trouble.
Starts on lane 63, and he had 8 strikes in the first match, leaves a 5-pin.
And that's a hit that he'll carry probably 99 out of 100 times. Unfortunately, not this time.
Been around a while at age 37, been on tour a long while. Katy, Texas, just outside of Houston, his hometown. Talk more about it, but McCordic, a real stylist. In fact, 2 very talented people in the world of bowling you're watching right here in this match.
McCordic has all the great fundamentals. Marshall Holman has the great release in a very unique style that he is still sliding when he releases the ball. Very few players can do that.
Marshall opens with a strike. He can go over $1.5 million in his career, all-time PBA money winner.
And there's a good look at the very familiar style, and you see he's still sliding. The ball is long gone. That great wrist rotation, that's what makes the ball hit so hard in the back for him.
Holman at age 36 is looking for his 22nd PBA national title, the Medford Meteor. '103 career championship round performances. And he leaves a solid 10.
And Marshall, in his practice before the telecast, was having a little more trouble with the left-hand lane than the right lane. The left lane hooking a little more for the players. And you see the results of that. When you have to give the ball a little more room, it tends to come in behind the head pin a little bit, and there's that solid 10.
Been a while since he's been in a championship round. It's his 3rd championship round appearance of the year. He made the first 2 telecasts of the season, finishing 5th and 2nd.
And his last win was the '88 Florida Open. As we mentioned, he can go over the $1.5 million mark in when he won. 36 years old. Now here's McCordic. He's struggling here after that 257 opening game against Benoit.
And we're going to get a good look at why that happened. Watch his swing go out to the right. See it? It went away from his body, and that's what made him pull the ball across his body. Started the ball early, and it goes through the middle of the head pin. Small mistake in his arm swing, and he was lucky to get away with just that spare. And he'll go cross lane at this. A little more ball speed, make the ball slide into the spare. Just like that.
Pete's last television appearance came at the '89 Don Carter Greater New Orleans Classic. He struggled, as we mentioned, this year, won only $14,205 in 31 tournaments. Career $674,000 plus. Won the Miller Lite in '88, going for his third title here in Milwaukee today. Bingo. Strikes back in the third.
Watch the swing stay inside this time, go straight on through, and that's the key to his game. His arm swing has to go straight through to the target. If it goes to the right and then comes back to the left, McCordic's in trouble, and if he makes a mistake, that's generally it.
Leaves a 4-pin.
Here's a great look at the style of one of the PBA's all-time greats. Watch the swing inside, still sliding at the point of release. A great follow-through. Look at the knee bend and the balance. All key ingredients to being a great Hall of Famer, which Marshall Holman obviously is.
PBA record for most years over 100,000, 8. Most consecutive 6. 89 earnings snapped that string. Last year he won $81,295. So far this season, $48,845.
The American Bowling Congress, being the sponsor of this event, wanted to be sure that we had an ideal lane condition as far as the rules and regulations of American Bowling Congress play go. So when they were, PBA does the lanes still, but when they were doing them, the American Bowling Congress checked them every day to make sure that they met ABC specifications, which I think is great. And that shows up in the scores. The scores are medium, and the players are playing on what they consider a shot maker's lane condition, which is a very fair lane condition. You have to make good shots to score, just like that.
And he asks for a re-rack there. He comes up with a strike, has the lead, and we'll be back right after this.
Chris Berman for Bud Bowl Update. It's been almost a year since that controversial fumble gave Budweiser the win in Bud Bowl 2. Bud Light has struck back by making quarterback sensation Bud Dry its top draft choice. Big and bold with that rifle arm. Bud Dry is the coolest thing to hit the PFL since Bud Ray Joe. Will Bud Dry sign in time for Bud Bowl 3? Bud Bowl Update will keep you informed as this all-important story develops.
Last year, more truck owners switched to Chevrolet than to any other truck.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Nearly 200,000 in just 1 year. So if you're still not driving a Chevy, what are you waiting for? More people are winning with
The heartbeat of America. Today's truck is Chevrolet.
NBC Sports coverage of the PBA Fall Tour is brought to you by the American Bowling Congress, the bowling industry leader since 1895. By Chevy Trucks, more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. And by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning.
Marshall Holman with a 3-pin lead. Bowling in the 6th frame. McCordic left a solid 10 in the 5th after striking in the 4th. Well, at the 10-pin again.
And Marshall's unhappy with the way the pins are being spotted on lane 63. That's kind of obvious. He's used both of his re-racks that he's allowed in one game. PBA rules only allow you to have 2 re-racks, and he's used them both already through 6 frames. And I think something important here is that he's going to finish on that lane in the 10th frame. And if it comes down to that last ball, he may be not very happy if the pins aren't spotted the way he likes them, and he doesn't have a chance to re-rack them.
Pete McCordic etched his name in the record book, becoming the 4th pro to roll a nationally televised 300 game. He did it against Wayne Webb in the Greater LA Open out in Torrance, California, 1987. Little help from his friends there.
Just a good shot there. A lot of leverage in that shot. What I mean by that is his knee bend. Here's a good look at it. Now watch the knee bend, the balance. He gets the ball well out in front of him. Good extension on the shot. See him follow through that little kick with his legs. That's what gives him that little extra. And he needs to get that 5-pin to take out the 7. Great stylist. He's worked very hard on this game, as hard as anybody out here. To take the lead.
No magic for McCordic there as he leaves the 4-pin.
And he knew he had not released the ball the way he wanted to. You could see by his expression and his reaction to the shot. He feels fortunate that he didn't get a split out of that, only leaving the 4-pin a pretty easy spare. But the players have to be careful. The middle of the lane has a lot of oil in it. If they go across lane with their spares and they're not careful, they could slide by them, Jay.
16 300 games last week in Chicago. None here in Milwaukee this week.
Right. There you go.
And McCordic picks up the spare. He's down 2. More action right after this.
I see you've selected the ultimate adventure. Vehicle preference?
Toyota 4x4, the black one.
Excellent choice. Another one.
A 1991 Toyota 4x4. The ultimate adventure.
Competitors know that it takes power to score. Power in your approach. Power in your equipment. Witness the devastating result of premium urethane charged with a secret additive and explosive high-energy impact for better corner carry. Even arc. More hook. The perfectly matched 2-piece ball. The U2 from Columbia 300.
When you're all stuffed up and use an ordinary nasal spray, it drips into your tissue where it can't help you breathe. But not Sinex Ultrafine Mist. Its medicine stays where you need it, so you can breathe the way you want to. We don't drip down, we clear up.
This party served delicious toasted Crispix Party Mix, and it was a huge success. This party didn't serve Crispix Mix, and it was, well, let's face it, it was a big flop. Serve Kellogg's Crispix Party Mix, because the perfect party's all in the mix.
The Chiefs. The Raiders. This ain't no powwow. Ow! Ow! Sunday.
Tomorrow, NFL Live starts it off at 12:30 Eastern, and O.J. Simpson looks back at his visit this week with U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia. Then many will see the Dolphins going to the Cleveland Dog Pound to take on the Browns. Second half of the doubleheader, the battle for first place in the AFC West, Kansas City and the Raiders. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Pete McCordic comes up with a 7-pin in the 9th frame. He has a 10-pin lead. Earl, we go back to the 8th frame. Marshall Holman, and disaster struck here for him. He was in the lead.
He was, and he was on a strike, a chance to extend that lead, and look at this. This is something you see very seldom out of a player of his caliber. The ball gets out to the edge of the lane where they normally would trust it, and it would hook back. There's more friction there generally. This is, again, American Bowling Congress, lane conditioning. There's no room for error.
Holman ended up leaving the 4-pin. McCordic gets the spare in the 9th, cutting down to 7. And Holman is down 10. Holman's high game was 279. McCordic's 269 this week.
Marshall here now, 9th frame. He has to strike here to have a chance to really put the pressure on McCordic. Down by 10 pins.
He does it.
All right, now remember, and I mentioned this earlier, this is the time when you wish you had another re-rack. Marshall will look at the pins, and he'll, if they're a little off spot, and Marshall, you know, he has a tendency to get a little upset about anything at all when he's in a situation like this where he knows he needs a strike. Matter of fact, he was very, very smart there, Jay. He didn't look at the pins. He's just going to get up and bowl. He knows his re-racks are gone. There's no sense even checking him out. To even the match.
And he has a 4-pin. Coming up, our weekly feature, Beyond the Foul Line with Earl Anthony. Earl's going to talk about lane conditions, something very appropriate since we are involved in the certification with the American Bowling Congress and the PBA's lane crew implementing the tournament conditions here this week.
All right. Now, it's important right here that Marshall get 10 pins for a score of 196 because Pete McCordic going at a 206 pace, but he's playing that extreme outside angle right near the edge of the lane, and any mistake at all could cost him the match. So Marshall has to fill and hope that McCordic makes a mistake of some kind. If someone of Marshall's caliber can throw it in the gutter, anybody can.
A big strike right there. 196 for Holman.
McCordic needs any kind of a mark, and he's the winner. But remember, watch the angle he's playing. A dangerous angle. He trusted it. He got it right to the edge, Jay. Takes courage.
The 4-pin down there.
Watch how close this ball gets to the edge of the lane. Here's a good look at it from down beyond the foul line. Here's a look. Watch how close to the edge of the lane. That's almost 0. All right, now cross lane at the spare. Remember, he has to go right at it. It will not hook. Careful.
Oh, my. Look at this. Marshall Holman walks away with a victory, 196 to 194. McCordic misses the 4-pin in the 10th frame to hand it to Marshall.
And it's a shocker for me, Jay, because early on in his first match, McCordic had trouble with those spares. He barely made them, and here he trusts the ball. There's a good look at it, sliding by the head pin. It just amazes me, and I mentioned he has to go right at it, and I was sure he would throw it hard and straight, and he didn't, and that's major error.
Well, we'll be back as Holman moves on against Kelly Kaufman.
The PBA's leading money winner, Mike Albee, has brought a dynamic new dimension to the exciting sport of bowling.
If you love bowling as much as I do, call 1-800-333-9877 for a 1-year subscription to Bowling Magazine for only $9.95. That's 1/3 off the single copy price. Every issue of Bowling Magazine is filled with tips to improve your game. Call 1-800-333-9877 for a 1-year subscription to Bowling Magazine.
One day there was just too much gray. I thought, should I or shouldn't I? I didn't. I was afraid it might look phony. I wanted natural-looking color, and I wanted to do it right, with no pouring and mixing. Nobody else could give me what I wanted until Clairol Option Instant for Men. I figured if it's from Clairol, I could trust it. I could. I went from gray to my natural-looking color in 5 easy minutes. My hair looks great, feels great. When I look in the mirror, I don't see gray. I see me.
Do it right with Option, also in gradual formula.
What a feeling, feeling fresh. What a feeling, feeling close. Feeling new Fix-A-Dent Fresh.
Introducing Fix-A-Dent Fresh with spring water freshness for a crisp, clean feeling. And it holds stronger than any other cream adhesive.
Feel it, feel it. Feeling new Fix-A-Dent Fresh.
A fresh new feeling and stronger hold are 2 new reasons to Fix-A-Dent and forget it.
Feel it.
The game's high rollers
America's top bowlers
in a high-stake showdown.
The Bowling Shootout.
December 8th on NBC Sports.
Time now for Beyond the Foul Line with Earl Anthony. Presented by the American Bowling Congress.
Every sport has its standards. Baseball, it's 90 feet between the bases. Football, it's 100 yards from end zone to end zone. And bowling has one thin dime. The lane must be leveled to within 40 thousandths of an inch. And that's only one of 30 measurements or more that are done on over 150,000 lane beds every year. And that's a standard that's required by the governing bodies, the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress. Levels are used to measure not only the levelness, but also the tilt of the lane. 4 measurements in at least 3 locations on each lane. In the pin deck, width, length, gutter depths, and more are controlled to within 1/8 of an inch. Why bother with all these details? So that you can be sure the sport of bowling remains just that, a sport. So my tip for you this week is to look for this decal on the front door of your local bowling center, so that you can be sure the sport of bowling is played there. So come on, let's all go bowling.
Well, here is match 2, 10th frame, Pete McCordic.
All he needs is a spare to win. And remember we talked about the oil in the middle of the lane? He just sent the ball wide. It didn't hook. Watch his reaction.
I remember you said he had to go right at it, Earl. Look at this. A heartbreaking defeat for Pete McCordic.
And it's been that kind of a year for him. And the reaction of Marshall, who feels he never gets a break, he can't believe it.
Marshall looked up here at us a few moments ago and said to you, he said, did that really happen to me? Here's the final. Holman wins it, 196-194 over McCordic. And now Marshall Holman will tie up with Kelly Coffman. And there's Coffman, the big youngster from Topeka, Kansas. Holman will begin.
And this is interesting. Remember, in the last match, Marshall had trouble with the pins being off spot, for, in his opinion, on lane 63. So in this match, Kelly Coffman, who has a choice of lanes, has let Marshall start on that lane. And that's you know, the rookie could be making a mistake there. That means Marshall will finish his 10th frame on lane 64.
Marshall on 63, opening with a strike.
We talked about the power in the release of this young man. Now, this is your first opportunity to see that, and it's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. This guy can rev it. Watch this ball, almost like it's got a motor on it. Look at this.
And he's high.
He was in the next county with that one, Jay.
Quite a story here. Kelly Coffman was 73rd after the opening round, then jumped to 5th, then went to 3rd, ended up 2nd. 28 titles among the 5 finalists here. Look out. Oh, and he's open right off the bat. 25 years old, 6'2", 240. And here's the finalist by round. You see Kaufman came from 73rd. Benoit from 36. Parker Bohn III was in the driver's seat after the 2nd round. pushed him down over on 63.
I'll tell you, Jay, he has to wear out a bowling ball about every 40, 50 games. The way he revs it up, he just wears that ball and that lane down to nothing.
Marshall Holman in a position that he didn't really expect to be in. And let's see if this great champion can take advantage of an opportunity that he has. Uh-oh, second gutter ball of this match, and look at Holman. He has really got to be hot.
And I don't understand that. I know Marshall Holman's game almost as well as my own, and I've never seen him do this before. He's generally very accurate. He's opening his shoulders up, letting the ball go out to the right, and he's not even close. He has to be missing by an arrow, not a board or two, by an arrow to miss that far.
Earl, in all the years you and I have been working together, I don't think we've ever seen that happen twice in a match by the same player.
No, I'm sure of that, Jay. And there's three.
Disaster. And the crowd just sitting in shocked silence here.
I don't think this has ever happened in a telecast in 30 years of professional bowling that I can remember. And this is one of the greatest of all time. I can't explain this, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
All-time leading money winner on the PBA Tour has thrown 2 gutter balls in this match. One in the earlier match when he survived McCordic's problem.
There's your natural, and you can see Marshall's reaction. I knew I was going to do that, he's saying it to himself. He pulled that ball to the other side of his target by at least 3 or 4 boards. Very disappointed and disgusted in himself, I'm sure.
Well, I frankly expected him, since he got by that big problem in match 2 against McCordic, to really light it up here, but now he's fighting at something fierce. Well, you won't see this very often, folks.
19 in the third frame.
Hope they're taping this, maybe, because this is a bit of history you're watching right here. To see Marshall Holman get by and get into match 3 and then have this happen. Kelly is on the Brooklyn side again. Prize money here, $27,000 first prize, then 14 and 8. McCordic picked up 6,000, Benoit 5,000. And there's a magnificent gift to the winner. That beautiful Balfour ring, specially designed for the American Bowling Congress Classic here. 18 diamonds.
Well, I'll tell you another thing, Jay. I don't think this young man, Kelly Kaufman, ever expected to bowl Marshall Holman and see him have 19 in the third frame.
I never expected it. He's up by 30.
He's up by 30, and he's got an open.
Yep.
My.
And now he's got a split.
Well, let's see who wants it the most. I think that's what it's going to end. This could be a very unique. It already is unique. It could be even more so. Marshall thinks he's back in the match now, and he definitely is.
Coffman has 2 opens. We'll be back. How about this?
This is never gonna work. Hey, relax. Anybody can send them roses.
Excuse me, we didn't order these. Ian, what's this?
Hi.
Did they really expect us to call them?
I'm telling you. Hello.
Nothing beats a Bud.
This is really weird. I have to shampoo a lot, and every time I do, my hair gets wet, but then my scalp gets dry, tight, and itchy. The more I shampoo, the drier it can get. Now, I can't stop shampooing, but I can use this. Dry scalp shampoo from Head & Shoulders. Made a different way, so it doesn't dry out your scalp like those other guys can. Try Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Shampoo and help wipe out dry scalp.
Now, at a pro shop near you, Brunswick is delivering a 100% urethane monster. We're delivering the power of a rhino. The hardest charging ball in America. In 5 distinct formulations, Brunswick's Rhino reigns.
Janitor, to the pro shop, please.
Hi, I'm O.J. Simpson. Join me for a look back at a special Thanksgiving. One I'll never forget, 3 days with U.S. troops in the Persian Gulf, Sunday on NFL Live.
Kelly Kaufman, lane 63. Strike, that's 2 in a row. He struck in the 5th. Marshall Holman back into it with strikes in the 4th and 5th. And right now, Holman is down 14. He's back in the match after one of the wildest starts that anyone can ever remember in a PBA match.
This is a horror story. I just can't believe what's happened to Marshall. He gets the big break, as you mentioned a couple of times, Jay, when McCordic missed that easy square to beat him. He comes out starting this match with a strike. He's bowling a rookie, the kid's first time on television, Kelly Kaufman. A chance to really jump on him, put him away, bowl for the title, and he throws back-to-back gutter balls. Unbelievable. On a double.
Pin remains for him. Young man looks a little like the former St. Louis Cardinal quarterback, Jimmy Hart, who's now the athletic director at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. An old buddy of mine. I can't get over how much they look alike.
Well, he's big enough to play football. He's about 240 pounds.
Yeah. Holman and Kaufman in a match that will be talked about for a long time by folks who follow the PBA Tour. David Ozio won here last year, beat Brian Voss 236 to 226. Ozio didn't cash here this week. Now Marshall Holman in the 7th frame. Holman is back in business here. We'll continue with more action from Milwaukee in just a moment.
The actual police case.
Tribe, the 12-12.
The ambush that killed a cop.
It was a premeditated murder robbery.
And shattered family and friends.
How come you didn't kill the people that shot my dad?
If you're getting too gun-shy for this line of work.
What they did to never let it happen again.
This is no time to quit.
In the Line of Duty on NBC Sunday.
I always wanted to play piano. Thanks to Schmidt Music and Yamaha's digital piano, I'm playing now. I'm playing blues, country, and pop, solo or with cool backgrounds. Touch-sensitive keys let me play and sound just like a piano or like 12 other instruments. Schmidt's promised I'd play, really play, in just 10 weeks. You can play too, with Yamaha's digital piano from Schmidt's. On sale now, only $16.88.
Sometimes you can find the future in a corner of your past, even if the future seems a bit imposing. Because sometimes things really haven't changed, they've simply gotten better. And sometimes you find that things that meant a lot to you then can mean a lot to you now. And sometimes you can get something back you thought you might be losing. Bowling at BPAA centers.
Bowling and Coca-Cola go well together. Enjoy both at a Gold Pin Bowling Center.
Growing up outside of Philly with my two brothers, we each had our favorite team. Judd's was the Phillies, Gordy's was the Flyers, but mine was the Philadelphia Eagles. I'd live for Sunday and imagine that someday I could play for the green and silver. But somehow a skinny kid with glasses named Oral Leonard Hershiser IV just wasn't meant for the NFL. So I had to find something else to do.
Oral Hershiser, not your everyday fan, for Team NFL merchandise. Available at a store near you.
Hey, a guy can dream, can he?
Are we safe from asbestos? Tuesday at 10 on Kerry 11 News.
On December 8th, Brian Voss, Lisa Wagner, and some amateur think they're going to take my crown from me. Well, I'll tell you right now, that shootout, it's mine. And if they want it, they better come and get me.
frame-by-frame competition. The prize money escalating, $150,000. The shootout, December the 8th. Marshall Holman. And right now, Marshall involved in a most interesting match here with Kelly Kaufman. Holman striking in the 7th and 8th has left the 10-pin in the 9th.
And the reason it has to be respotted, it did fall down, but it fell down with the help of the machine. You see the mechanic down there knocking all the pins down, the 10-pin being spotted, and Marshall will go for the spare. Bad break from Marshall, great break from Kelly Kaufman. Close match. There's a look at it.
The lead for Kaufman, 12 pins. If you're just joining us, the unbelievable has happened here. In the opening of this match, 2 gutter balls thrown by Holman. He survived the gutter ball in his match with Pete McCordic to win by 2. Boy, he's turning it now.
This young man has such wrist strength, it's unbelievable. He swings the ball like most any other player, and he looks like any other player going to the foul line. He's got the good fundamentals, but when he gets to the bottom of that release, he actually lays the ball almost on his forearm. Tremendous rotation. This one to lock up the match.
And it goes. And Kelly Kaufman is going to have a chance to go for the big prize.
Look at this wrist. Watch this. Oh, that takes strength. Great strength.
Fellas on the tour call him the Michelin Man.
Yeah, watch your reaction here, Jay.
He loved it. Back on 63 with a strike. Well, Holman battled his way back. But
one thing about Marshall, and he's been as exciting a player over the years as anybody on the tour, along with Mark Roth and Don Johnson and Dick Weber and people of that stature, you can always expect the unusual for Marshall, one way or the other, and he provided it today, Jay.
Kelly Kaufman, a score of 208 to take the victory.
Here's another demonstration of Chevy versus Ford. We're loading up these full-size pickups with recyclables. The Chevy has a standard payload advantage of over 400 pounds.
That's a pile of payload the Ford leaves behind.
No wonder so many truck owners recycle their trucks for Chevys. More people are winning with
the heartbeat of America.
Now it's easy to win with the heartbeat.
In our great sport, there are people who bowl and there are bowlers. The difference is right here in my hand, the American Bowling Congress membership card. Without standards or rules enforced by ABC, what do our accomplishments really mean? The greatest bowlers of all time have always been ABC members. It's important because it provides the credibility we all need. So when you go bowling, make sure you ask to compete in an ABC-sanctioned league or tournament. It's your assurance that you really are a bowler and not just going bowling. Let's go bowling with ABC.
This isn't gonna make it, I just know it. A cereal today has gotta be different. It's gotta look like cookies, it tastes like tree branches. All you got here is the same old flakes. This is different. Simple, light. I'm surprised. I like this a lot. Well, you've got a big new hit on your hands, I just know it.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes? I knew it.
Taste them again for the first time.
Boitano, Comanche, Sumner's, Connor. The grace of figure skating combined with the beauty of gymnastics. The Sudafed Symphony of Sports. Today.
Kelly Kaufman, 208 to 186 over Marshall Holman, facing Parker Bohn III for the championship, $27,000 first prize. The year of the gutter ball on the PBA Tour.
Unbelievable, Jay. I don't know what to say. It's hard to come up with any reasoning for it. The players, there's just no excuse for a player of this caliber to throw the ball in the gutter. There's no way to reason It happened to this young man last week in the 10th frame when he needed to. Here's a good look at Kelly Kaufman. Watch the ball rev up. But Parker Bohn, when he needed to mark, actually a strike last week to advance, threw his ball in the gutter.
And Parker had a couple in the gutter last night. Gets them all. We've seen Holman throw 3 gutter balls here today. Freehold, New Jersey, Parker's hometown. 27 years old. Won $135,000 last year. Has earned $131,000 this year.
He's in the race for Bowler of the Year, Jay, with a win today. He definitely is in the race. And it's still not decided. Even though Monticelli and the boys are up there, he's still got a chance.
And he's looking for his 5th PBA national title. This is his 6th championship round appearance of the year and the 2nd in a row.
And here's a good look at a very, very talented young man. Could well be the best left-hander on the tour at this point.
Now Coffman is a little high, and he leaves the 6 pin. Last week, Earl, we had the youngster, 21 years old, Jimmy Johnson, win his first PBA title. This fellow in search of his first at age 25.
Maybe it's a rookie fall tour, Jay.
Darrell Dobbs, the executive director of the American Bowling Congress, and Roger Dalkin, assistant executive director. Side by side here. What a great job the American Bowling Congress does. They're sponsoring their first PBA tournament. They hosted the pros in fine fashion here this week.
And Kelly Kaufman not getting the lane reaction he expects. He wants the ball. The most important thing for Kelly, he's looking down the lane about 35 feet. He's looking at a break point. He's not spotting at the arrows like most bowlers would. He's looking down and he's trying to line the ball to that point on the lane and make it turn in from there. And he can make it turn in, believe me. Right now, the ball is hooking a little bit earlier than he expects, and you can see it's crossing the head pin. And the weakest part of his game, he can throw plenty of strikes, but this is the weakest part of his game, and he's been working very hard on it, is his spare shooting.
They always like to bring you the top 24 each week, and here they are. Don Gianello, number 24. Fellows all away from home on Thanksgiving, many with their families here. Ron Palumbi, Brad Kazuski, who has had a very fine fall tour.
And the legend, Harry Sullivan. Good to see Jeff Bellinger bowling well again. And, Norm Duke not really bowling that much on the tour anymore, but having a fine fall. There's young Mr. Weber.
Parker picking up the spare.
Danny Broadway, one of 3 lefties to make the top 24 this week. Billy Young with a 290 game last night, folks, and he had the first 11 and threw the 12th one in the gutter. It must be the year of the gutter ball, Jay.
Yeah, just stay rook, picking up 4,500. Parker's so close to the edge there, and he is open. Show you the tail end of this, Earl.
And he expects the ball hook a little more than it's going to. As you can see, he's way out near the edge of the lane, and it just comes in behind, only getting the 9 pin.
Kaufman is a little high, but he got it.
Well, he crossed over. He's trying to make some adjustments. Again, he likes to get the ball well down the lane and break it hard in the back, and he just didn't quite get it back to where he wanted it to be, and he's still searching.
Got a moment to speak with Marshall Holman. Marshall, this was unbelievable what we saw here today.
I'll tell you, Jay, it's you know, it's embarrassing, but the shot was to get the ball wide and then really bring it back strong. I made a couple really bad errors, and Kelly took advantage, and he's looking pretty strong right now. Parker just opened, and his ball hit so hard, it's just unbelievable.
We'll see you in Atlantic City, my friend.
I look forward to that one. Thank you, Jay.
Parker Bohn down by a dozen. And Bohn striking in the 5th. Coming up next, the Sudafed Symphony of Sports, and you're going to really enjoy that. A special showcase that combines the grace of figure skating and the artistic beauty of gymnastics. This unique event featuring exceptional athletes from all over the world. 21 Olympic medalists, 14 of which are gold. That's next, except on the West Coast. The Sudafed Symphony of Sports. Problem for Parker.
And again, we've talked about this before in the past, and when the adrenaline gets going a little bit, and Parker had a chance to get right back in the match with the strike there, and as you can see, he's left a 3.79, considered an almost impossible spare. His best chance to make it is to bounce it out of the pit. He'll throw it hard, try to get to 3 in the 9 with the ball and bounce it out of the pit. This could be the fall tour for the rookies, Jay.
Well, I'll tell you, we saw some tremendous action from Jimmy Johnson as he won last week in Chicago at the Brunswick World Open.
Well, I think we're going to get back in that position based on that shot. Now, Kelly isn't lined up either. Parker's been hitting the pocket. He's made a couple of mistakes that have cost him, and missing a spare and then leaving the split. And you can see that he's down on himself right now, but this is not an easy spare. The ball has to get back to that 9-pin. Watch it. Just did get it.
Next Saturday, the Touring Players Championship, sponsored by our friends from Budweiser. We'll be at the Taylor Lanes in Taylor, Michigan. We'll be on the air at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. That's always a very special event, Earl, because it's the players event.
It is. It's the championship of the touring players, and they look forward to that particular tournament. To them, it's special because it's only the touring players.
And Kelly Kaufman with a big strike in the 7th. Reminder again about the National Bowling Hall of Fame tournament. League bowlers can register now to compete. 10th year of this great event. Amateurs get to come to St. Louis to bowl side by side with Hall of Famers. And here is Parker Bohn striking in the 7th. Registration fee for that tournament, the Bowling Hall of Fame and Museum to benefit, just $1. For more information, contact your local bowling proprietor or call the National Bowling Hall of Fame and Museum, 314-231-6340. And Milwaukee, of course, the home of the ABC since 1907. This tournament co-sponsored by the Bowling Proprietors Association of Wisconsin, along with the American Bowling Congress. We're going to the wire in this one. And Parker talking to it and liking it.
After a re-rack, Jay, he took a re-rack on lane 63, much as Marshall Holman did in the earlier matches. And there's a good look at his wife.
Yeah, she's a charming lady, and
there's another look at the shot.
Son is here today. Here's the reaction from Mary. Little smile, all right.
I think she's into this, Jay.
Kaufman. Too much of the head pin.
It had to happen. It had to happen eventually. He's just never really gotten lined up. He's been fortunate. He's crossed over and got the strike and then doubled behind it. This time he didn't get the break. A much tougher spare. Just enough of the 3-pin with the ball to slide it into 7. That's what he's looking for.
Oh, he gets it. What a very, very important shot that was.
And we're going to get another look at that one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what. Here's a young man that is obviously not noted for spare shooting ability. What a great shot. Key shot. 8th frame of the match. That could decide the match at this point. The difference only 10 pins going into that shot. 9th frame for Kelly Kaufman.
talked about him working to improve his spare shooting.
And he definitely has improved his spare shooting. Unfortunately, he hasn't found the strike line, and if anybody can strike, it's this young man. Parker Bohn now, his fate in his own hands, much as it was last week at the World Open in Chicago when he threw the ball in the channel. I don't expect that to happen again, but if Parker were to strike here, he could take the lead, and 2 in the 10th would win the match.
Earl, with what we've seen, nothing would surprise me. Oh, wonderful job there. Mary rooting her man on.
We still have a possibility of a tie. Only 2 pins separating these 2 players with 1 frame to play.
Parker now in the lead by 2.
And he's got the hammer, Jay. He's on the string. He's on the strikes. 1 here. But just about 1 and 9 spare would win the match. But he would like to strike out. He doesn't want to be any doubts. Let's watch it, see what happens.
As so many have done, he has asked for a re-rack on 63. That's his second and last.
Oh, pulled it away. And he got him. You know what? I will guarantee you right now, based on that release, that what was going through his mind is what happened last week when he threw the ball in the channel. He actually went straighter with that shot, didn't trust it. You're going to get another look at that. The ball angle, watch it. When it leaves his hand, it's going up toward the pocket rather than away from the pocket. Completely different ball angle for him there. More ball speed and right at him. It's like a baseball pitcher throwing the hide hard one when he needs it. All right. Well, it's not over till it's over, folks. Let me tell you. He needs this spare. He must make this to win the tournament. And remember what happened to Pete McCordic.
If he knocks this one down, he cannot lose the match. He's got it. He knew he had it. Parker Bohn III wins it. We'll be back to talk things over right after this.
The 1991 Toyota Previa All-Track LE was designed for precious cargo. No one knows that better than golf star Chichi Rodriguez, who uses the Previa to bring disadvantaged kids to his youth foundation for a little care and guidance.
Nothing is more precious than to see a smile on a little boy's or girl's face. To me, that's more important than winning any golf tournament.
Toyota Previa. We love what you do with it, Chichi.
Roll with the clean, fresh taste of Bud Light. It won't fill you up, never lets you down.
The Chiefs. The Raiders. This ain't no powwow. Ow! Ow! Sunday.
NBC sports coverage of the PBA Fall Tour has been brought to you by the American Bowling Congress, the bowling industry leader since 1895. By Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. And by your Toyota dealers and their quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me.
Well, here's the way it went. McCordic defeating Benoit. And then it was Holman in a struggle by 2 over McCordic. Then Coffman got by Holman. And the winner, Parker Bohn III over Kelly Coffman. And here is our champion. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Jay. This has just been a really exciting week. Thanksgiving week here in American Bowling Congress, right behind the PBA, and the two of us together, I think this week just turned out really good.
Well, it turned out good for you. You'll go over the $500,000 mark in your career with this victory.
I didn't even know I was getting that high.
Earl, a question.
Just one quick one, Parker. Last week, you needed a strike to win the match. You threw it in the ditch. This week, you needed a strike to win the tournament. What went through your mind?
Well, obviously that left lane hung on me twice, so I moved a little bit left and got a little firmer with it and said, you can't get it unless you get it out. And trust is a must. That's what I was told.
Trust is a must, and the 4-bagger late was very helpful.
Oh, exceptionally.
Let's bring Max Skelton, the president of the American Bowling Congress, in, the man from Ada, Oklahoma, to make the presentation.
Parker, it's a pleasure to represent the American Bowling Congress and present to you a ring, one of a kind, designed by Balfour as a symbol of winning this, the first ABC Falls Classic.
There's that ring. That's beautiful. Better give him the check, too. I think he'd like to have that.
I thought I was going to get to keep that. This check is adding to his tournament winnings, and it's $25,000 plus.
All right, $27,000 to be exact. Congratulations. Mary and Parker are right there with our champion. Well, let's remind you that tomorrow, National Football League action. That big game, Kansas City and the